Hi everyone, this is Dr. Marco. Welcome to this week's health tip. So my ladies at the front desk, they asked me to do a special health tip specifically highlighting the products that we have in our office, because we've had patients coming for months and years sometimes, and they said, oh, I didn't know you had that, and I didn't know that was here. So they kind of wanted me to highlight a couple of the things. I'm briefly going to go over most of the stuff that we have. The majority of things I have are things that really aren't available in stores or that kind of thing. We're more sort of like elite products or stuff that's only available to doctors and that sort of thing. So I'll try to briefly cover them, why I like them, and what you can get out of them. So the first sort of category, we're going to talk about the bulletproof products. So there's a guy named David Asprey who is like a Silicon Valley biohacker guy, lots of money. He can spend lots of money on himself to figure out what works and how he can improve his brain and his body. So he does a lot of things to kind of figure out, we want clean foods, coffee that doesn't have any, contaminants in it, and protein sources from grass-fed cows that don't have any pesticides or hormones and that kind of thing. So clean fuel, basically. So one of the things that he's come up with is something called brain Octane Oil. So this is a very specific oil. Some people have heard of the benefits of what they call medium chain triglycerides, which are sort of like fats that are a certain length that are part of the, let's say, coconut oil, for example. And he specifically pulled out one of them that's called caprylic acid, which is in here. And this one helps to feed the bacteria, the healthy bacteria in your intestines, but it's also an immediate fuel source for your brain neurons. So it's like an alternate source, because normally your neurons use just glucose. But if they have a ketone available, which this becomes, it becomes a ketone, it bypasses your liver and your gallbladder, so even if you don't have one, it gets into your blood and gets up into your brain. So he calls this brain octane because it's like high octane fuel for your brain. So in the fat loss program that I have in my office, when people are doing the reduction phase for 1 month, they're not allowed to have any sugar or fats of any sort. This is the only oil that I allow in that program, because this actually helps you burn fat and it helps to keep your brain healthy at the same time. So they can use that during that program. And anybody else can use it at any time, just adding it to your foods or salads or whatever you want to add it to. So, and it's colorless and odorless, basically. So that oil, he tried to say, let me try to put it into a snack. So he's actually put that oil inside his grass-fed collagen protein bars. So we have these as well. So these are organic, made out of basically cashews, but he's tried to pack in as much of this special oil in there, because that oil helps to give you satiety, and it helps to kind of quell the hunger cravings and the pangs. They're a good clean source of protein, all organic ingredients, and they have a fair bit of this brain octane oil in it as well. So there's a lot of different flavors, chocolate chip cookie dough, it's a pretty good one. We have vanilla shortbread, which isn't bad. My favorite is the lemon cookie or the chocolate brownie. And they also have what we call bites. So these are just little small ones, just a couple of bites. So this is kind of like to stave off cravings and hunger and that kind of thing. So just eat this slowly, chew it, and let that brain octane oil get up into your brain, and the cravings will pass pretty quickly, and you've got some good nutrition in as well. He also has different kind of protein powder. So it has grass-fed collagen, and there's also gelatin. But usually when you make gelatin, people make jello and those gravies and things. But the gelatin is a lower quality protein than collagen. So what he did is combine the two, and this is actually called colla-gelatin. So it has the properties of gelatin, so it can make like jello-y kind of custards or jello or gravies and those kind of things. So I use this a fair bit in cooking, so I can use the fat water that he has, which is like that drink that he has that has a little bit of that oil in it. So it's like different flavors like blueberry and lemon, so you could use that, add some of this, and that'll actually make like a jello. So you have a good protein, a good fat inside a jello that you can have as a snack. I also use this in cooking. It's good for making like soft cookies and stuff. So if I'm making like an almond flour cookie with chocolate chips, I'll put this in it so it'll keep it soft, like that moist, soft, chewiness that you like in cookies. So I like this a lot for a lot of my baking ones. Next department, I'm going to call this sort of like the healthiest sugar alternative that you can get to. So my number one sugar alternative would be like raw green stevia, basically stevia leaf powder, but aftertaste and all that kind of stuff. So the next best option is a product called Lakanto, which is basically comes from the monk fruit, which is a zero glycemic index sweetener that comes from Asia. Monk fruit extract doesn't change your blood sugar levels at all, so this is diabetic friendly, autism spectrum people, it's autism friendly because it doesn't spike blood sugar levels and those kind of things. So it's kind of a way to kind of get some sweets, even though you're still kind of, it's not like 100% healthy, but it's the next best thing sort of. So they have monk fruit with a little bit of erythritol in it to make it sort of more palatable and that kind of thing, more like sugar. So they have crystalline kind, which just looks like brown sugar or like white sugar. They have packets as well that you can carry around and put in your teas and coffees. They also have this, which I like. The granular ones don't dissolve as easily as regular sugar in baking and stuff, so I use this one because before I had to put them in a food processor to make it more powdery, but they've actually come up with this one. This is all more or less my favorite part of them now. So it's like a powdered monk fruit. So just a little bit of this goes a long way. A little bit in, like, if you're making iced tea, to sweeten up an iced tea. So I use it in my baking as well. You can sprinkle it on top of foods that are supposed to have icing sugar. Use this instead, or you can actually use it in the recipe itself to replace sugar. So that's very versatile, and obviously zero glycemic index, doesn't spike your blood sugar. It's kind of non-GMO, all that kind of good stuff. They also have some sort of portable liquid ones, so these are some of my favorites too. This is very small and portable. I have this with me in my backpack whenever I'm going out, or I put it in my pocket or whatever. So if I'm going out to a place to eat and they have like a tea or something like that, I can just put like 5 or 6 drops of that in the tea, stir it up, and it sweetens your tea. So this is pure monk fruit extract with a little bit of B vitamin in there. They also have a couple flavored ones. They have a lemon flavored one if you want to make like lemonades in the summer. And they also have the vanilla. I use this one a lot in cooking. If they ask for vanilla extract in a recipe, this is sweet in itself. So it has the vanilla aspect of it, and it also could be the sweetener for the recipe itself. So a number of drops in this, depending on how sweet you want it. These are very convenient. There's like, over 300 servings in one of these things, so they really last a long time. They're super convenient. Another good brain food, which is chocolate bars. So these are completely sugar-free. They're sweetened with the monk fruit. They also have the fair trade organic cacao and all that kind of stuff. So the cacao is really good. It's good for your brain. Lots of polyphenols and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, you don't want to eat a whole bar. You just have a couple of pieces a day, that kind of thing, and that's good for your brain. And it's good to keep you going and satisfy the sweet tooth without damaging all that stuff. And miracle of miracles, for all our Italian diehards, they've actually come up with something called Suntella. So you never thought they would make a healthy alternative to Nutella, but this is as close as you're going to get. So it doesn't taste exactly like Nutella because there's no milk and, milk dehydrated product and all that kind of stuff in here. So the base is actually sunflower butter. So sunflower butter is a good alternative because there's no nuts in it, so it's still school-friendly, all that kind of stuff. It's got good cacao. It's sweetened with the monk fruit sweetener. It's got some inulin and some other vegetable fibers and a lot of good stuff in there, actually. So this is like as close as you can get to like the decadence of Nutella. You could dip like strawberries in it and eat that. That would be a good snack. If you have some good seed crackers, you can put it on there, so you have your Nutella with crackers, that kind of thing. So this is pretty high-end stuff. This costs a lot, because just under $20 for one of these things. It's a lot, but take your time and go slowly on it. But it's actually a really good alternative to Nutella. This next department, we're going to talk about the protein powders. So one of the ones I really like. This is called Bone Broth Protein. And these guys took like free-range chickens and stuff. They got the chicken breastbone, which is the best part that has the best collagen protein in it. They basically just dehydrated it. It's a really clean source of protein. It's very low allergenic, and they have some vanilla. We have a couple of these left, and we have 1 chocolate left. So if you want some of these are a pretty good protein source. There's another website I have called Dr. Marco Likes, and I'll show you the website right here. If you go here, that's specifically a web page I made just to highlight the products that I have in the office, or ones that I don't have that you can order online. So one of the other proteins that I like, if you're looking for like a vegetarian source, the one I think is the best one is called Hemp Protein, and the company called Onnit. They make a really good one. This is a really good hemp protein. It's all natural, clean. They have a lot of good extra ingredients in there, naturally sweetened. They have a vanilla and they have like a chocolate maca, whatever. And those are both really good. A few scoops of that and a good protein, and that's a really good protein source, natural. So if you go to my Dr. Marco Likes page and click on Onnit, O-N-N-I-T, that's the company that makes these protein powders, and you could order that from them. So that's a pretty good one too. Next, we're going to get into sort of like nutritional stuff. So a lot of vitamins and minerals and those things, I don't like people just to take one thing, like just take a lot of vitamin D or something, because that can sometimes cause imbalances in other parts and kind of shift your system out of balance. But there's a few vitamins or minerals I think you can kind of get away with taking a lot of, and it won't necessarily mess up your system. One of them is magnesium. Magnesium is really important for brain health, for muscle health, for circulatory system, relaxation, all sorts of things. But a lot of times when people take a lot of magnesium, they might end up causing a little bit of diarrhea and loose stools and stuff. So there's a company called the product is called Ease. And so this one here is like a hydrated magnesium that you actually spray in your skin. So you can actually spray it on tight muscles and soreness and that kind of thing. You can just spray it on yourself generally just to have a good source of magnesium, because most people are deficient in magnesium these days. So you just spray it in your hands, just rub it on your body, anywhere you want, all over, and you can do this quite a bit. And so that's a really good way of getting magnesium. So this is also on the Dr. Marco Like site. Click on magnesium and it'll go to this page and you can order that from them. It comes to your house. The other supplement that I'm pretty excited about that finally came available, either you've already seen it last week or next week or shortly, I'm going to be showing you a video of Dr. Susanna Humphries, which did an amazing video on the importance of vitamin C, especially if you're trying to help fight a really persistent cough, or like a pertussis, a childhood pertussis, or a peripertussis, any kind of really bad cough. If you really high dose your vitamin C, you can really knock that out in like a day or two if you do it properly. But you really need to do high doses. They've come up with like a liquid one. It's called liposomal vitamin C. So this is a vitamin C that's actually surrounded by a little fat globule. It's obviously microscopic, but that's what it is. But you can get a lot of vitamin C in your body without causing upset, and you can really high dose it if you really need to fight like a really super bad persistent cough. You got a kid that's coughing all the time, or if you are yourself, you really high dose this, and this is a way to get a lot of that in. So in that video, Dr. Humphries talks about how important it is, and it's one of the best ways to treat pertussis infections and those kind of things as well. So I was always, usually vitamin C liquid ones, they're made out of like bad sources, like they're using corn or GMO corn and stuff. So this is made out of non-GMO sunflower oil, which is what I was waiting for, so they finally made it. So it has kind of a nice orange flavor. I just put it under my tongue. If you really got to hit a cold, just you'd be doing that like super dosing your body for like 2 days kind of thing, just hitting it as much as you can to really just saturate your cells with vitamin C to really help the immune system knock it out. So this one's really good. I got a few of these, so that's another one right there. The other one, the oil that we have, so this is the mammalian omega-3 oil. So this one's really important because it's different than fish oil, it's different than krill, it's different than algae or blue-green algae. This is a specific mammalian omega-3. So we're mammals, so this has the exact same configuration as the omega-3 that we get from breast milk. And it also has an omega-3 called DPA, which isn't available in fish or krill or any of the other things. And DPA is kind of like the liquid gold a little bit, because that's found in breast milk when we're having our biggest neurological development when we're breastfeeding as a little kid. So that can really help brain development. So we have this one here that has vitamin D and vitamin A in it as well, so that's great for kids on the spectrum or anybody else that wants good brain health. And we also have another one specifically right now, which we're doing a field testing on, which is called a NeuroBasic. They used that one in a study that they show that it actually helps regrow nerves, and it can be very important for people that have peripheral neuropathy or neuropathies, diabetic or just regular neuropathies, nerve pain, nerve problems, that kind of thing. So we're doing some data collection on that product, so if everybody's interested to do the data collection with us and come and buy that product and go through a couple of months of the study and give us some feedback on their progress, that would be really great. We're doing that right now. One of the last things, sort of like the medicine chest in the chiropractor's house, is there's nothing in it, but there are a few natural things just in case, right? So this is one of my sort of go-tos when things are a little rough with the immune system or when you think you're getting cold. So this is called, this is a colloidal silver spray. Colloidal silver is very important for knocking out the bad bacteria. If your body's kind of a bit overrun with bad bacteria or viruses, you're kind of knocked down. This has a really high kill rate of killing the bad bacteria and keeping your good ones kind of thing. So it's very specific to kind of knock out your bad bacteria, give your immune system a fighting chance. So anytime I feel like I might be a little low on my immune system, you feel the scratchy throat, you think you might be coming on, start hitting this a lot. So a bunch of sprays under the tongue. If you feel your throat, I'd actually like spray it into my throat and inhale it to try to get it back. I've also put it in my kid's ear. If his ear was bugging him, I would just spray a little bit into the cap and just pour it in so that it'll actually get into the ear. Anywhere you think you need to have a bit of help with your body, kind of knocking out some bad pathogens, this is my sort of go-to. They also have a specific allergy one for allergy season too, which is helping people with pollen and all that kind of stuff, any kind of allergies they might have. So this helps in allergy season as well. It's once again, it's spraying under the tongue, and that's all you need to do with that one. And the last big thing, most of you know, this is kind of like the flagship thing we've had at the office. It's had a lot of good success, and we've had medical doctors sending people with digestive things and colitis and all that kind of stuff. So this is Restore. It's a sterile product. It's basically, we call it healthy dirt water. So basically it's the bacterial communication system that bacteria use to develop to be able to communicate with each other properly. So it has the effect of making sure the intestines are holding together and sealed properly, so we have good integrity of your intestines, so that gluten and things like that, or other pathogens and things that might cause your intestines to not be so healthy, it helps to kind of make sure that it is healthy. And it also provides the bacteria the proper communication system, so that way what you're breathing in your environment, what you're exposed to, it helps the bacteria to kind of populate themselves properly inside you to give you a healthy balance on the inside. So it's kind of taking the place of way beyond probiotics. Probiotics just being a few strains of bacteria that you keep throwing down there. This helps them sort of establish the right proper proportions and the right healthy balance on the inside of you. So this is kind of like a good standard for everybody, because all the crops are getting sprayed with herbicides and pesticides and genetically modified crops and everything, so we just need sort of something that's going to help us maintain a good stability in there. So we have the big bottles like this. We also have like a smaller squirt bottle. This is the one that we give to kids. It's the same product, it's just packaged differently, so it's kind of cute for kids. So this is called Magic Dirt Water and has a little dinosaur on it. So we have these ones as well, and then we have the little squirt bottles that you could take traveling and that kind of thing. So one other thing that's really important on the Dr. Marco site, there's a link that says Cancer Help. So there's a gentleman in the States that had a really late stage colon cancer that was about to go through the whole process of the traditional surgery or chemo and all that kind of stuff, and he just felt it wasn't right. And over a series of things over the course of the years, he's actually learned the best way to kind of treat cancer naturally. And so he actually has come up with a program called the Square One Healing Cancer Program. So it actually has a video set, it's got like a bunch of modules where he just spends like about 50 minutes talking about all the different things if you're going to try to do it naturally, or even if you're doing the traditional stuff, what you should do naturally to help to make it go better and all that kind of stuff. It's got like a whole eating guide, and it's got a whole book that has the transcripts of everything in the video, and it's pretty amazing. He's helped like lots and lots of people all around the world, has helped them with all different sorts of cancers everywhere in the body. If you're going to do it naturally, what blood tests you're doing to see if you're actually making progress and all that kind of stuff. So it's got everything in there. So just click on Cancer Health. You could order this from his website, from the link on my page there. And that's very helpful for anybody that has cancer and wants help, needs help in that sense. So that's basically the majority of the products that I have. Hopefully that was helpful. I know it was a lot of stuff, and hopefully you just kind of got an idea what you might want and what you might be looking for. These are all the high-end stuff, and I use it, or I have used it, all these things before. We use it with my family and everything, and I highly recommend most of these stuff in people's daily lives. So that's your health tip for this week. If this is helpful, please share it, and we will see you next time.